It's game one of the Houston Astros and the Philadelphia Phillies, and I'm talking about it pregame on my first Twitter Spaces broadcast of the year. This is simulcast into this edition of Phillies Talk Podcast. Hope you enjoyed, everyone, and tune in over at Twitter. And hello, everyone. Welcome to this Twitter Spaces. It's Phillies Talk Podcast, talking about that World Series rematch between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Houston Astros, scheduled to take place in just a few minutes from now. Figured I'd get on the air for my first Twitter Spaces of the year. It's been a while, I'll tell you, and I told you last year, I love this format. I love being able to go up on Twitter and do these broadcasts because it's so easy, and you, the listeners out there, can take part in this broadcast very easily. You just jump on the Twitter Spaces when you see the live broadcast, and you can appear right onto the space and request to talk if you want to be on the program. So it's a great way for a two-way conversation, almost like talk radio. I follow a Mets podcast out of New York, Subway to Shea, and they do an awfully great Twitter Spaces. A wonderful job on that. It almost sounds like you're listening to sports radio, so sports talk radio, that is. So hopefully I can get to that level. It's going to take me a few of these Twitter Spaces to do that. And a shout out to Subway to Shea podcast out there. So great show. And of course, a tip of my cap to the great Gary Mack over at Mets Musings podcast. A few of my favorite friends in the world are Mets fans, including some local best friends that I have. So I'm actually going to be watching the Mets versus the Braves tonight on television because the game is streaming only on Apple TV tonight. And over the past couple years, I've had Apple TV off and on, but I don't find the need to have it all the time. So I didn't subscribe. I could actually jump on and subscribe to a quick 7-day free preview tonight, which I still may do when the game starts, because they do a great job on Apple TV with their broadcasts. They seem to broadcast the game in 4K, it looks like, because I have a 4K television, and anytime I've ever watched it on Apple TV, I tell you, it's probably one of the clearest pictures that I've ever seen a baseball game come over a television on. And a few years ago I got satellite TV just for the MLB package that they offered way back in the day. I'm talking a good 20 plus years ago. Satellite was one of the only ways that you could get the MLB package way back when. And back then it was, right off the dish, right off the satellite, and they had a great feed as well. But with the 4K television, Apple TV is the best stream that I have seen, including the Peacock stream. I don't even think that comes close. I think Apple outdoes that. So that's my choice for, watching the game, and hopefully I'll take advantage of the free Apple TV sign on to check out the game. And hopefully you will too, because I know a lot of people around game time will be tuning in, trying to find them on local television in the Philadelphia area. And in fact, the game is scheduled to go off just about 5 minutes from now, as the time I'm doing this Twitter Spaces. So I'm going to make this a quick Twitter Spaces, and hopefully you'll get a chance to listen to this at some point, either on Twitter, or I may record it and release it as a Phillies Talk podcast. I've been catching up with my Phillies Talk podcast co-host, Mr. Matt Veazey, and we're going to try to make some time over the weekend to get a showdown. I want to hear Matt's thoughts about the Phillies, the big turnaround. They're now 500, 13-13, going into game number 27 tonight on April 28th, 2023, down at Minute Maid Park. Just a few stats for you. The Phillies all-time at Minute Maid Park are 19-29 against the Astros. 2022 record, they were 1-2 against the Stros. And at Citizens Bank Park all-time, the Phillies are 16-18 altogether. So Phillies on a nice road trip now, 3 games in Houston, and then they go out further west next week to LA. So before coming home for that great homestand, which I'm looking forward to already, Boston. So over the weekend, next weekend, the following weekend, not this coming weekend, but I'm already looking forward to the home series against Boston. Well, it's Aaron Nola going tonight for the Phillies in 2023. He's 1-2 before the start tonight with a 5.40 ERA. Career, he's 79-64 with a career 3.65 ERA. He's 29 years of age, born on June 4th, 1993. Well, his last start before tonight in Houston was April 21st against Colorado. It was a no-decision game. The Phillies came back to beat the Colorado Rockies in that game, 4-3 at Citizens Bank Park. Nola got the no decision, though. He pitched 7 innings, giving up 4 hits and 3 earned runs with 3 walks and only 3 strikeouts. I know that game, I think the over and under for the strikeouts was like 6.5, and I thought he would easily do the 6.5, but somehow Nola just didn't have it going that night against the Colorado Rockies. So tonight they'll be facing a pitcher that we saw during the World Series, Framber Valdez. He's 2-2 with a 2.25 ERA going into tonight's game against the Phillies. He was very effective in the World Series against the Phils. I just seem to remember him pitching on the mound a lot during the World Series, and he was doing great. So hopefully the Phillies can win Game 1 out in Houston. That would be a great help, especially on a road trip going west and further west after Houston. That would be awesome if they could win tonight for themselves and also to go above 500 for the first time this year in 2023. That's what they'll do if they win Game 1 here tonight against the Houston Astros. So Nola will be making his 209th career start, and that moves him into sole possession of 9th place in club history, breaking a tie with Hall of Famer Jim Bunning. So Nola's been pitching a lot for the Phils. Now he moves into sole position with his 209th career start tonight, 9th place in club history. Way to go, Aaron Nola. And the Phillies offense have been on fire lately. Nick Castellanos slashing 548, 611, and 903 with a 1.514 OPS and 7 extra base hits in 36 plate appearances this season. So he's been smashing a cover off the ball so far this year. We'll see if Kyle Schwarber can pick it up and a few of the other Phillies, JT Realmuto and Trey Turner as well. If they could all get together and get on the same plate and definitely crank up that offense, I think we're going to see a win here tonight in Houston. All right, that's about all I have for this Twitter Spaces. Thank you for listening to this edition, and I'll be coming on a lot in the future for these pregame shows, maybe some post-game talk, things like that. I'll tell you about a recent trip that I had to Citizens Bank Park. It was very awesome. It's been a great year so far for baseball in 2023. All right, enjoy the game. Phillies, Astros, World Series, Game 1. Repeat matchup tonight, Friday, April 28th, 2023. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great evening, and I'll talk to you soon.